in psychotherapy, not yet really analysis, he still used those enthusiastic words about neurohistology. You must admit, neurohistology is really that he could look for years and years through a microscope for a man with that imagination and with those ideas should be rather frustrating, and he was so much in love with it. I think he was in love with it because he could do in that moment what his mother did, and with what his mother impressed him so deeply. I found a similar, not similar, also a nodal experience in Goethe's youth that explains much what contributed to his great poetry. Because if you would try to write a novel about a man who became a great scientist, you could not invent a more engaging, a more charming childhood experience as the one between the little boy and his mother. Now he went on with, if somebody cynically could say, whenever Freud heard about something improbable, he took it up and made it probable, made it visible. No one thought that trauma is a wish fulfillment, that children have sexuality. All that he showed in a way that is so convincing that one can hardly escape it. I think the case histories, although they are now so attacked, case histories belong there. The case histories start with a puzzle. That situation I found. Is it time? Oh, it's late. And he solves it. He presents a history in such a way that you live with those people, that you are not aware where he interprets and where he reports facts. I think those case histories are masterpieces, and that is acknowledged by those who read them without prejudice. But today those case histories are read mostly by people who go out of their way to find a mistake or an error, and of course you can find them, which does not distract from their greatness. So this wish was fulfilled to a great extent, that he could demonstrate ad oculos, how he calls it in the interpretation, in the dream in which that childhood recollection came up. He succeeds very often. But what was the result? His biological papers were as true as they were at the time when he wrote them. But what happened to psychoanalysis? Adler and Jung were analysts, acknowledged them, and then they developed a completely different psychology. And his pupils formed. Melanie Klein's psychoanalysis was something quite different from Wilhelm Reich's, or not from Abraham, but he saw that psychoanalysis is falling apart into various schools, and that the demonstration of ad oculos did not succeed. Although I think that this tripartite model of ego, id, and superego, at least I see the ego fighting with the superego, or trying to get along with it, whatever it may be. It was also a demonstration ad oculos, he probably thought, and nevertheless it is accepted by so very few people, relatively. And then came the terrible thing that his books were burned, and he might have had the feeling that the time will come when his books will not be available anymore in the German language, and his word had become a curse word, and he was attacked from all quarters. And what hurt him probably most, strangely enough, he witnessed when Brücke received the highest distinction for what he accomplished for science. It was in 1888, as far as I could find out, and when he was there, he had the fantasy, the feeling perhaps I will get that distinctive medallion one day. He of course did not get it, but a adversary of his, Pater Schmidt, who intrigued against psychoanalysis and who enforced the prohibition of psychoanalysis in Italy. So he said with a wry humor, at least I helped one person to get this medallion, Pater Schmidt, by his fight against psychoanalysis. His idea was not to get the Nobel Prize, but the distinctive medallion that Brücke had received. Now, at the age of 80, when he saw all those terrible things happen, and someone writes him, but your biological papers were so wonderful, in that moment a great desire might have arisen in him, if I only had stayed with biology or physiology. He would not have become world famous and had not received the Nobel Prize, but he would have received the prize from this medallion from the Austrian government. And his pupils would not fight, and what he would show in his specimens would remain untouched and would be something valuable for the rest of the time, whereas he did not know what will happen to his psychoanalysis. If you read some letters, you get the impression that Freud did not fully accept psychoanalysis as his own, as his possession. Once he wrote, which is so strange to my ear, I must give great credit to psychoanalysis that psychoanalysis can do this and that. Not as if he had, as if it were he. Or he says after Abraham's death, the task before us, psychoanalysis, is greater than all of us together. So he felt quite small in view of psychoanalysis. Strangely enough, he wrote of my psychoanalysis, and he wrote to Stefan Zweig that after all what I've been able to do to puzzle out a little truth here and there, and the future of my psychoanalysis is also a very gloomy. When it falls apart, when it is gloomy, then it is my psychoanalysis. When it is striving, when it grows, then it is not his. Whereas I think the biological findings were his. So here you have an example of it exists because one can't see. Fortunately, one can see. Because in a letter to Abraham in 1924, he wrote, it may be incompatible with the unity of personality when I say that I identify with a paper in which the author discovers the spinal ganglia of petromycin. I did it, and this discovery gave me the greatest pleasure, gave me greater elation than all discoveries I made afterwards. I would like, before closing, to thank Dr. Garcia for the great trouble and success with organizing this meeting, and I would like to thank the institution who extended its hospitality, and I would like to thank you for your patience and last but not least for paying attention to me. Thank you.